1946, 1 year after her defeat in the Pacific War, Japan was suffering from severe inflation and food shortages. And not only food, but also clothing and shelter were in short supply. Yet the people of Japan were earnestly fighting their way back to the long-awaited peace. In October of that same year, our founder Soichiro Honda founded the Honda Technical Research Institute amongst the burned-out ruins of Yamashita-cho, Hamamatsu City. Here, he and a dozen or so employees busied themselves in the study of internal combustion engines and machinery. Soichiro Honda, who was more apt to be called father than president, was born in 1906. He was the first son of a blacksmith in Komyo-mura, Iwata-gun in Shizuoka Prefecture. He possessed a great curiosity for new things and an untiring penchant for the creation of innovative ideas. Soichiro's exceptional personality was already manifest during his grade school days, and here is one episode from those days. When he was a second or third grader, an automobile arrived in his village for the very first time. He was so fascinated by the sound of the engine and the smell of the exhaust fumes that he crawled over the ground where the car had been parked to smell the oil stain left behind. He scooped up the soil and held it close to his face, as if he tried to breathe the latest technology of the time. After graduating from higher elementary school, Soichiro realized that the automobile would lead the next era, and so he took himself to Tokyo, where he worked for a company called Art & Company, an auto repair shop of which there were still very few in those days. When he had acquired adequate advanced skills, he opened an auto repair shop in Hamamatsu City under the name of the Hamamatsu branch of Art & Company. Soichiro Honda was just 22 years of age. The auto repair business was soon running on the right track, and Soichiro then founded the Tokai Seiki Company to produce piston rings, aiming to make new developments in this field. However, the going was not easy, as he lacked in the required skills and knowledge of casting. After a period of trials and errors, Soichiro entered the Hamamatsu Professional School of Technology. He mastered the basics that he sought, while at the same time studying as an auditor. Together, these studies enabled him to mass-produce piston rings, and during World War II, his works produced piston rings day and night. By August 1945, the war was over. Soichiro Honda disengaged himself from piston ring production and looked about for his next enterprise, while closely examining society in its post-war lethargy. Supreme Advisor Soichiro Honda recalls, "Moving around in chaotic times gets one nowhere. For the meantime, I enjoyed playing the shakuhachi, or Japanese bamboo flute, until I saw signs of a positive future." Soichiro saw his chance. He built a factory with about 165 square meters of floor space on land that he had owned in Hamamatsu, and started the Honda Technical Research Institute. This was in October of 1946, and Soichiro Honda was then 40 years of age. The institute concerned itself with motorcycles, as Japan's transportation system was in chaos at that time. They bought radial engines which had been used by the military and installed them onto bicycles. This innovative idea attracted a great deal of public attention. The large demand soon consumed all of the purchased engines, making them design engines for their own production. Soichiro, together with Kiyoshi Kawashima, who had just joined Honda in July of 1947, developed the chimney engine, and then the two-cycle 1/2 horsepower A-type in November, and went into production at the Yamashita factory. Motorcycles equipped with A-type engines were nicknamed Bata Bata after their noisy exhaust sounds and became very popular. September 1948, with a capital of 1 million yen, President Honda founded the Honda Motor Company Limited in Itayamachi in Hamamatsu City, succeeding the Honda Technical Research Institute. The first step toward Honda of the World was taken from a small factory employing about 20 people. However, stimulated by Honda's success, some 40 other motorcycle manufacturers sprouted in Hamamatsu City, and Honda strove toward the development of new and more efficient engines. Following the A-type, a B-type engine was developed. And finally, the C-type engine was developed, and was almost twice as powerful as the original A-type. This engine displayed its power in the US-Japan motorcycle race held in Futago Tamagawa in Tokyo by winning the class championship. In those days, motorcycles and scooters had frames made by Meguro, Fuji, and Rikuo. President Honda began the development of more durable motorcycles with stronger frames instead of just bicycles with engines. In August 1949, a two-cycle 98cc 3-horsepower D-type motorcycle prototype was completed, the result of all the Honda employees' skills and innovation. It was named the Dream because one of the employees said that he felt as if their achievement were a dream come true. Thus, Honda was the first manufacturer to produce both frames and engines. In August of that year, Hidenoshin Furuhashi established a new world's record during the All-U.S. Swimming Championship held in Los Angeles. This news inspired all the employees' morale. The consensus then was, now let's hoist the Japanese flag throughout the world with our motorcycle. After taking his first step as a motorcycle manufacturer with Green, President Honda met Takeo Fujisawa. In October 1949, Fujisawa left the lumber industry and joined Honda as a managing director. When they had a moment, the two men would talk about their dreams and philosophies, and they determined their goal to be Honda of the world. But they also had a humanistic and romantic principle in their guidelines by saying that we want to produce things that will never fail to satisfy people, things that they can enjoy using. In November of that year, Honda's capital was increased to 2 million yen. March 1950 saw the opening of an office in Kyobashi Makicho in Tokyo, leading the way for expansion into the capital. The Tokyo factory started operation in March of the following year. This factory was in fact a renovated sewing machine factory at Kamijujo in Kitaku, Tokyo. Those days at the Tokyo factory were described as sitting on a volcano. The factory started out with a monthly production of 300 motorcycles. This was to increase to 1,000 units per month after the first 2 years of operation. Everyone, including the president himself, worked long, hard hours in their white work clothes. But the efforts and skills of the young workers in those founding years resulted in immeasurable achievement, and what supported the basis of this small factory was their total confidence and pride, reflected in their claim, we can do it if we try hard enough, and knowledge knows no limit. The number of motorcycle manufacturers had increased rapidly by that time, presenting even higher competition. Customer interest had shifted from two-cycle to four-cycle engines, mainly because of the two-cycle engine's notable characteristics: its high-pitched roar, its billowing white-blue smoke, and the ever-present fear of engine seizure. Honda challenged the more difficult development of a four-cycle engine. Many designs were drawn up, and extensive studies were conducted into the heart of engine technology. By May 1951, designs for the engine of the future were complete, and preparations were made for mass production. This is how the four-cycle overhead valve 146cc 5.5 horsepower E-type engine was born. It had many innovative features, such as overhead valves, and combined the engine and transmission mechanisms. This development took only 2 months in the making, was attributed to President Honda's theories, such as good ideas save time, and ability comes from the wise use of time. The Dream E-Type trial model was completed in July 1951. And then came the first Cub F-Type in March of 1952, with the catchphrase, white tank and red engine. It was easy to handle and economical, and thus quickly became popular the moment it arrived on the market in June. It received many overseas inquiries. 1,500 Cubs were sold that June, and a further 3,000 in July. The cumulative total by November was already 25,000. Such tremendous popularity now brought director Fujisawa to realize the necessity for instituting a competent sales network to handle these mass sales. In those days, however, there were only about 400 motorcycle dealers throughout the entire country, and all of the manufacturers were struggling with one another to contract those few dealers. So when director Fujisawa investigated the possibility of establishing a different type of sales network, it was the more than 55,000 bicycle shops who enjoyed very strong ties with their customers that drew his attention. And so he sent off the following letter to them. Your grandfathers had the courage to start selling imported bicycles after the Russo-Japanese War, which was to become what is your business today. Honda's producing engines now. We'd appreciate your reply if you're interested. This strategy was a success. The sincere letter caused considerable reaction, with 13,000 bicycle shops responding, and the sales network was immediately formed. The idea of forming a sales network for new models was a distribution revolution within the two-wheeler industry. While expanding the sales network with the club and earning a high reputation of the Dream, Honda dared to start building more factories in order to make even greater strides in its mass productivity, despite the industry's judgment to the contrary. The first of these was the Shirako factory built in Shirako Yamatomachi in Saitama Prefecture in March 1952. January 1953, the Yamato factory was built in Niikuda, Yamatomachi, and the Dream Type was mass-produced here. In December of that same year, the Aoi factory was built in Hamamatsu City in Shizuoka Prefecture. It was completely unprecedented in Japanese industrial history to build as many as 3 process factories in only 2 years. This innovative attitude was also manifest within the organizational management. Starting with the first issue of the Honda Monthly in 1951, many new systems were introduced. The Improvement Suggestion System, the Honda Company News, a Lifetime Security System, a Recreation Organization, the TWI Training System, an Employee Savings System, and the independent operation of a dormitory for single employees. These systems were the realization of Honda's basic premise, the establishment of a working place which would help employees develop their dreams and aspirations, which in turn would increase their enthusiasm for their work. By 1952 and 53, Japanese industry had regained its former productivity, and facility expansion was beginning to be encouraged. At the same time, however, work precision was still mainly dependent upon the efforts of the skilled workers themselves. In October of 1952, Honda decided to import machine tools from major advanced countries, certain in the knowledge and belief that good products must certainly conquer the world market, regardless of national origin. Orders amounting to 450 million yen were placed in the United States, Germany, and Switzerland. Honda's capital at that time of this momentous decision was only 6 million yen, and therefore the decision was out of the question as far as public opinion was concerned, even though the capital was to increase to 15 million yen the following month. President Honda and Director Fujisawa recalled those days. If you wish to judge a company on only its past performance, you cannot help but deem this decision reckless. But we were thinking not of the past, or even the immediate present. Our thoughts were turned to 3, 5, or even 10 years in the future. We knew very well that the employees and the facilities would always remain to benefit Japan, even if we had gone bankrupt and had to leave. Successive construction of factories and aggressive facility investment thus changed Honda from what it was, a small motorcycle factory, into an enterprise which explored public demands and responded to those demands. 1952 was the year when the name Honda became strongly impressed upon the public mind, with its dream and cub. It was also the year for developing new products. The design of general-purpose engines also started about this time. Later that fall, production was started on the trial models of the motorcycle Bentley. Actual production of Bentley began in June 1953. The Bentley was designed to meet the demand for a smaller motorcycle, which incorporated its engine and body into one shape, without exceeding the limitations set out in the motor bicycle regulations of that day. It had exceptional capabilities as a motor bicycle and boasted a maximum speed of 65 kilometers per hour. The name Bentley was very apt, in the free usage of the Japanese word benri, which means convenient. Honda also started producing its H-type general-purpose engines in September 1952, marking its advance into the multi-use field. November 1953 saw the start of production of Honda's original scooter, the Juno. Quite unlike scooters that had preceded it, the Juno's body was made from polyester resin, molded to form elegant, flowing curves. It was the first 2-liter to come with a completely shell-encased motor. In addition to this, it was equipped with a full windshield for use in the rain, making it a scooter full of new ideas and innovations. Juno attracted a lot of attention at the first motor show held in Hibiya, Tokyo, 1954. Honda then made remarkable progress during its first 5 years, following its foundation, by introducing the Dream, the Cub, the Bentley, and the Juno, by building factories and expanding its facility investment, and by forming a new form of sales network. It had surpassed all other manufacturers such as Tohatsu, and now had seized the top position in Japan. Honda stocks were offered to the public in January of 1954, now making the company a modern enterprise, both in name and in reality. Honda of Hamamatsu was growing to be Honda of Japan. As the Korean War had ended in 1954, Japan's economy could no longer enjoy the so-called special procurement boom and was forced to face recession. Honda's storming success now met with a crisis for the first time in its history. Cub sales declined rapidly. The hitherto popular Bentley could no longer maintain its popularity as customers were no longer satisfied with a bicycle with a supplementary engine. As the Juno's engine was completely encased, its engine tended to overheat, and customer complaints started to come in. And finally, Honda's main product, the Dream E-Type, was also losing its popularity as the change from 200cc to 225cc had rather adverse effects upon its performance. In Japan's worst recession after World War II, Honda now faced the possibility of possible bankruptcy, with a top-heavy inventory and the ever-accumulating interest of facility investment. In order to survive this crisis, it was necessary that the entire company tackle the problem. On April 20th, 1954, Fujisawa himself went to the Saitama factory, frankly reporting the situation to the employees there and asking for their cooperation under an emergency order. The union, which had not long been formed, called an ad hoc meeting. It adopted an emergency plan to increase production of the 200cc Dream while closely cooperating with the management. Meanwhile, the engineers were struggling to solve the 225cc Dream's problems. Those same engineers in Honda developed an improved carburetor in only 1 week, thus reviving the 225cc Dream. In view of the impending crisis, Director Fujisawa took out a 100 million yen loan from the Mitsubishi Bank and asked Honda's supporting suppliers for their all-out cooperation. Mr. Tokita Suzuki, who at that time was the manager of the Kyobashi branch of the Mitsubishi Bank, had this to say.
Hondaの製品が売れておるか売れておらないか。
I said then that people themselves should check to see whether or not Honda's products were in fact selling. If they were, Honda, I said, would be okay. They had 2 billion yen worth of outstanding bills. So I told them to tide over with credit. 3 days later, Fujisawa made an announcement in front of his subcontractors. He had guts. And he'd come to earn the trust of others. The crisis was over just 1 month after the emergency order, but the lessons that were learned about full cooperation between labor and management and the vital importance of mutual trust between them remain invaluable. The union, which had displayed such marvelous cooperation and assistance during the time of the crisis, had originally been formed at the Shirako factory on June 27, 1953. And following Shirako, the main office and the Hamamatsu factory formed unions the following year, under the slogan, an independent and a healthy union. These then were the unions which cooperated so successfully with the management in a mutual effort to overcome the crisis of 1954. They created a mutual reliance between the management and the union members, not merely that of an employer-employee relationship, but one of equal individuals working together as a team. On March 20, 1954, Soichiro Honda declared Honda's participation in the internationally acclaimed tourist trophy race held annually on the British Isle of Man. Honda, which had started from nothing in the terrible confusion following the Second World War, had at last won its way through its competition to become the leading manufacturer, sailing before the wind. And now it sets out on its pursuit to become the world's leader by declaring its entry into the all-demanding tourist trophy race.